This is the Sakar Murli of the 7th of June 2024. Essence: sweet children, you are one another's spiritual brothers. You should have a lot of love for one another. Become the Ganges who overflow with love. Never fight or quarrel. Question: which children does the spiritual father love a great deal? Answer: 1. He loves the children who benefit the world by following Srimat. 2. Those who have become flowers and never prick others with thorns. Those who live with others with a lot of love and never sulk are the children who are loved by the Father. Those who become body conscious and fight amongst themselves and become like salt water lose the Father's honour. They become ones who defame the Father. Om Shanti. Just as you spiritual children love the spiritual Father, similarly the spiritual Father loves you spiritual children because you benefit the whole world by following Srimat. Those who are benefactors are all loved by everyone. You are all brothers of one another, so you should definitely love one another. There would not be as much love among people outside as there is among you children of the Father. You should have a lot of love for one another. If brothers fight amongst themselves here or do not have love for one another, they are not brothers. You should have love for one another. The Father has love for souls, and souls should therefore also have love for one another. In the Golden Age, all souls love one another, because body consciousness will have been broken. You brothers benefit the whole world by having remembrance of the one Father. You are benefiting yourselves, and you should also benefit your brothers. This is why the Father is making you soul conscious from body conscious. Physical brothers fight amongst themselves for their share of wealth. There is no question of fighting or quarrelling here. Each one of you has kept a direct connection. This is an unlimited matter. You have to claim your inheritance from the Father with the power of yoga. You claim a physical inheritance from a physical father, whereas that one is the spiritual Father, from whom you spiritual children receive your spiritual inheritance. Each one of you has to claim your inheritance directly from the Father. The more you individually remember the Father, the more inheritance you will receive. When the Father sees that you fight amongst yourselves, he would ask, "Are you orphans?" Spiritual brothers would never fight among themselves. If as brothers you fight among yourselves, if there is no love, then it is as though you belong to Ravan. All of them are devilish children. In that case, since you fight when you are body conscious, it would be as though there is no difference between devilish children and you godly children. Souls do not fight with souls, and this is why the Father says, "Sweetest children, do not become like salt water with each other." It is when you become like that that the Father explains to you. The Father would then say that you are body conscious children, that you are Ravan's children, not his children, because you live with one another like salt water. You remain like milk and sugar for 21 births. At this time you have to remain soul-conscious. If you don't get on with one another, you should consider yourselves to belong to the community of Ravan at that time. Being like salt water with each other, you cause the Father to lose his honour. Even though you are called the children of God, if there are devilish traits in you, you are body-conscious. Soul-conscious children have godly virtues in them. When you imbibe godly virtues here, the Father will take you back with him, and you will then carry those sanskars back with you. The Father is aware that some children are body-conscious and live like salt water. They cannot be called the children of God. They cause so much loss for themselves. They become influenced by Maya. They become like salt water with each other. That is, those who have conflict. In fact, the whole world is like salt water. So if even the children of God become like salt water, what is the difference? They cause the Father to be defamed. Those who become like salt water and cause the Father to be defamed cannot reach their destination. They can even be called atheists. The children who become theists can never fight with anyone. You mustn't fight among yourselves. You have to learn to live with one another with love here, so that there will then be that love for 21 births. If after calling yourselves the children of God, you don't become brothers, you are then devilish children. The Father speaks the Murli in order to explain to you children. However, because of body consciousness, some don't even realize that the Father is saying this to them. Maya is very clever. Just as a mouse bites in such a way that you are not even aware of it, so Maya too blows on you very sweetly and then bites you, and you are not even aware of it. To sulk with each other is the work of the devilish community. At many centres, children are like salt water. No one has yet become perfect. Maya continues to wage war. Maya scalps you in such a way that you are unaware of it. You have to ask your hearts whether you have love in your hearts for one another or not. You are the children of the ocean of love, and so you have to become the Ganges overflowing with love. Instead of fighting and quarrelling and saying bad or wrong things, it is better not to say anything. Hear no evil. If anyone has a trace of anger, there isn't that love. This is why Baba says, write your chart every day. If you are unable to reform your devilish behaviour, what would be the consequence of that? What status would you receive? The Father explains, if someone doesn't do service, what would his condition become? His status would be reduced. Everyone is going to have visions. You too will have visions of how you studied. It is only after you have had visions that you are transferred. After being transferred, you will go to the new world. At the end, you will have visions of everything. who has passed and with how many marks. Then there will be weeping and wailing. Punishment will be experienced, and there will be repentance, because you didn't listen to Baba. Baba repeatedly explains to you, you mustn't have any devilish traits in you. Those who have divine virtues should make others similar to themselves. It is very easy to remember the Father, Alpha and Beta. Alpha means the Father, and Beta means the sovereignty. Therefore, children, you should have intoxication. If you are like salt water with one another, how could you be considered to be God's children? Baba would think that you are devilish children, and that Maya has caught hold of you by the nose. You don't even realize that your stage is fluctuating, and that your status is reducing. You children should try to teach them with love. Let there be the vision of love. The Father is the ocean of love, and so he attracts you children. You too have to become oceans of love. The Father explains to you children with a lot of love and gives you good directions. By following God's directions you become flowers. He gives you all the virtues. Deities have love, and so you have to create that stage here. You have this knowledge at this time, but when you have become deities, you will not have this knowledge. There is just divine love there. Therefore you children also have to imbibe divine virtues now. You are now making effort to become worthy of worship. You are now at the confluence age. The Father comes in Bharat, and people celebrate the birthday of Shiva, but they don't know who he is, when he comes or what he does. You children know at this time, number-wise according to your efforts. Those who don't know this are unable to explain to anyone, and their status is then reduced. Among those who study at school, the behaviour of some is bad, and the behaviour of others is always good. Some are always present, and some remain absent. Here, those who constantly remember the Father and spin the discus of self-realization are present. The Father says, while walking and moving around, consider yourselves to be spinners of the discus of self-realization. When you forget this, you are absent. Only when you are always present will you receive a high status. If you forget, you will receive a low status. The Father knows that there is still time. The discus would be spinning in the intellects of those who are to claim a high status. It is said, let there be remembrance of Shiv Baba. Let there be the nectar of knowledge in your mouth when you leave your body. If there is love for anything, you will continue to remember that in the final moments. If there is greed for a certain food, then at the time of dying, you would constantly remember that you want to eat that. Your status would then be destroyed. The Father says, die while spinning the discus of self-realization. Do not remember anything else. Souls have to go back as they came, without any relationships. Greed is no less. If there is greed, you will continue to remember the thing for which there is greed at the end, and if you don't receive it, you will die with that desire. Therefore, you children should not have any greed, etc. The Father explains a great deal, but only those who are to understand will understand. Let the remembrance of the Father cling to your heart. Baba, oh Baba. You mustn't even say Baba, Baba. Let the soundless chant continue internally. Only when you shed that body in remembrance of the Father and in the Karmatit stage can you claim a high status. Acha. To the sweetest, beloved, long lost and now found children, love, remembrance and good morning from the Mother, the Father, Bapdada. The spiritual Father says Namaste to the spiritual children, and the spiritual children say Namaste to the spiritual Father. Essence for Dana 1. Become an overflowing Ganges of love. Let there be the vision of love for everyone. Never use wrong words. 2. Do not have greed for anything. Be a spinner of the discus of self-realization. Practice so that you do not remember anything at the end. Blessing. May you be a Raj Rishi who easily and constantly stays distant from all the attractions of old bodies and the old world. A Raj Rishi means one who on the one hand has the intoxication of a right to all attainments, and on the other hand has spiritual intoxication of having unlimited disinterest. At the present time, you have to continue to increase the practice of both these things. Disinterest does not mean to move away, but while having all attainments, do not let any limited attractions attract your mind or intellect. Let there not be the slightest dependency, even in your thoughts. This is known as being a Raj Rishi, that is, one who has unlimited disinterest. It means being one who is constantly and easily distant, away from all the attractions of old bodies, the physical old world, gross feelings, and desires for material comforts. Slogan. Use the facilities of science, but do not let them become the support of your life. Om Shanti. Now we have the sweet elevated versions of Matashwari. The Mahabharata is being repeated practically at this time of the confluence age. Look, they say a battle took place between the Kauravas and the Pandavas in Kurukshetra, and then they show that the companion of the Pandavas was Sri Krishna, who gave them directions. So the side that has the Lord of Matter with them will definitely win. Look how they have confused everything. First of all, you have to understand that the Lord of Matter is the Supreme Soul, whereas Sri Krishna is the first deity of the Golden Age. So the co-charioteer of the Pandavas is God. God cannot teach us children violence, nor would the Pandavas engage in a violent battle and claim self-sovereignty. This world is the field of action in which whatever types of seeds people sow through their actions, they accordingly receive good or bad fruit. On this field of action, the Pandavas and the mothers of Bharat, the incarnations of Shanti, are present. God comes in the land of Bharat, and this is why Bharat is said to be an imperishable land. God has specially incarnated in the land of Bharat because the expansion of irreligiousness came from the land of Bharat. It was here that God destroyed the kingdoms of the Kauravas with yoga power and established the kingdom of the Pandavas. So God came and established the kingdom of righteousness, but the people of Bharat have forgotten their great pure religion and elevated actions, and have called themselves Hindus. Because of not knowing their own religion, the poor things have been converted into other religions. This is an unlimited knowledge, which the unlimited Master himself tells us. They have forgotten their original religion and become trapped in limited things. This is said to be extreme deformation of religion, because all of those religions are of matter. However, there first has to be the original religion of oneself. So the original religion of oneself, of each one, is, I, a soul, am a being of peace. Then the religion of matter, of bodies, is the deity religion. The 330 million residents of Bharat are deities. This is why God says, renounce all the innumerable bodily religions. Renounce all other religions. There has been so much revolution because of those limited religions. So now move away from limited religions and go into the unlimited. You have to have yoga with that unlimited Father, the Almighty Authority, God. And this is why the Almighty Authority, the Lord of Matter, is the Supreme Soul, and not Sri Krishna. So a cycle ago too, the victory of the side that personally had the Lord of Matter, God, with them is remembered. Acha.